Zodiac Cold Audit, Case File 71, 1969, San Francisco. A killer sends a letter to the Chronicles filled with bizarre symbols and a terrifying claim. My name is the Zodiac, followed by a code. For over 50 years, the world has been obsessed with cracking these puzzles. They called him a mastermind. That is the Varnish. In Case File 71, we don't play games. We audit the architecture of the file. The codes weren't meant to be read. They were meant to be walls. Today we strip away the Zodiac persona and look at the logic of tactical paralysis. Point 4. Tactical deflection. The code as a shield. Let's look at the Z340 cipher. It took 51 years and a supercomputer to crack it. And what did it say? Nothing. It was a rambling mess of misspellings and ego. Applying point 4, tactical deflection. Why send a code that can't be cracked for half a century? Because as long as the FBI's top cryptographers are staring at symbols, they aren't looking at the physical evidence. The codes were a nuclear varnish designed to shift the investigation from the crime scene to the library. While they were looking for a math genius, they were ignoring the architecture of a man with a size 10.5 shoe and a military-style gate. Point 1 and 2, the missing tool and evidence of absence. Now, let's look at the genius claim. Look at part 2, evidence of absence. The Zodiac claimed to be a master of explosives, sending diagrams of bombs that would blow up school buses. But what happened? Nothing. No bombs, no event went off. This proves the bombing was the missing tool. He didn't have the technical skill to build them, so he used varnish of a drawing to create absolute fear. He wasn't a tactician, he was a storyteller. He used the architecture of terror to make himself appear more powerful than he actually was. He wasn't a phantom with a laboratory. He was a man with a pen and a high-functioning understanding of human nature. That is point 5. Point 3. The architecture of the act. The Stein murder. Look at the Paul Stein murder in Persetto's Heights. This is the only time the Zodiac was nearly caught. Why? Because the varnish failed. Again, because the varnish failed. He killed the cab driver in a residential neighborhood and was seen by witnesses. Look at the architecture. He wiped the interior of the cab but left a bloody fingerprint on the exterior. He was seen walking toward the park. In this moment, the genius was gone. Again, in this moment, the genius was gone. He was just a panicked man in a dark jacket. To recover his glory, he sent a piece of Stein shirt in the mail. That piece of cloth was a tool to pull the focus back onto his letters and away from his mistakes. He traded the physical evidence for psychological varnish. Point 5. Human nature. Finally, we audit the motive. The Zodiac didn't kill, for a mission. He killed to become a network. Again, he killed to become a network. He demanded that his codes be printed on the front page. Human nature tells us that a man who demands front page varnish is a man who feels small in his everyday life. He uses the code to copyright his crimes so that no other killer, can take credit for it. By the time the communication stopped in 1974, he had achieved his goal. He had turned a few disorganized murders into a permanent fortress of mystery. He didn't need to kill anymore because the varnish was now doing the work for him. conclusion, the architect's verdict, the Zodiac wasn't a mastermind. Again, the Zodiac was not a mastermind. He was a tactician who realized that the public would rather believe in a genius monster than a boring loser. He gave you the codes to keep you busy while he walked away. I'm the investigator, but I see that the code breaks are still hitting against the walls. Case file 71 has decoded the deflection. Continue to please apply the logic that I am providing. I'm nearing the end of my criminal investigations classes. Please feel free to subscribe to the Bureau. Thank you for joining me, and see you next time.